Well, world of YouTube, I've just figured out why. Obviously, I've been visited by this Red Hawk in Groton, Mass. Another story needs to be told that I'm sure has not been forgotten, but if you have not heard of this, which I didn't hear about it in the schools, I mean, you do have the King Philip War and the French War. Two very important pieces, of course, Native American history. This story, of course, it must have been placed here for me to tell. Insane stuff, but what I have here is I looked up the son and why he was killed and how he was killed, of course, and this had come up. I have literally saved the article, and I'm going to go over a little bit, as you can see, of the Lovewell's War, it's called. I think it's pretty much a spin-off from the French War, French-Indian War. And, of course, the meaning of the war has nothing more to do with, just like today, money and greed. And New England wanted to expand out to Maine. As I just read off of Wikipedia, you can check it out yourselves if you want. But as the Lovewell War is a main name that you can use, or if you want to put in Paugus, Chief Paugus War. But John Chamberlain of Groton, literally where this hawk sat, of course, made me wonder what was there. I was meaning to get to that spot for a long time, but I guess this book my father gave me was kind of a sign to say, hey, do the video. Because along Route 40, where I bring you in my video the other day, insane. There used to be a mill. So he was a farmer with a mill. I guess there's stones there and markers in 200 yards southly from this mill. Paugus, Chief Paugus' son, his name was Paugus, was shot dead. I guess this man here, John Chamberlain, after killing the chief and finishing up the war, he went to Groton to live out his life. Blah, 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 it goes on to say. Of course, the census war that these people started, which he was included, Mr. John Chamberlain. Of course, they make it sound like the Indians are savages once again. But when you got people coming up to your land and saying, I want your land, and now we're expanding, yeah, that don't work. That didn't work back then. So none of this war, and that's why I'm here to tell these stories, were senseless. They were not brutal or savage people trying to kill the white man because they didn't like him. They were just trying to protect their land and keep, what they owned. Plain and simple, just like what we're dealing with today. This is a perfect example. Perfect. Of how we, welcome refugees and illegal immigrants come into our United States. And as you can see, London Bridge, boom, blow us up. All these senseless acts of terror has actually been going on since the dawn of time, as you can see. And just because the Indians got sick and tired of being ripped off, all right? Just like we're sick and tired of being blown up. It takes a tragedy like the Boston Marathon for us to become stronger together, for us to work together, for us to do all this, BS together. But as you can see, this has been going on forever. Greed. People want to destroy us because they don't like us. The British, the English, the French even manipulated in the French war to the Indians to fight the English so they can control back their land, I believe, in my thoughts and theories. But when the war was said and done, after that war, they say that the Indians didn't help the French again, but looks like here, New France is the cause of New England. New France started going after each other, of course. New England wanted to expand out the Maine. They didn't want it. And of course, casualties were lost of Indians, and as you can see, Paugus, Chief Paugus and his son lost his life due to senseless war. Senseless. But this goes on, this article just goes on to tell how the son, the chief of the Sun went to stalk out this man. But word got around, he caught wind of it, John did. Chamberlain was a swift hunter, it says here. And he also, as they call him, a strong and proud warrior, was now its humble owner. He went to humble all of a sudden, you know. But it says how he wanted to live out his life. But this guy, of course, Paugus' son, didn't want to have nothing to do with that, because it says, starts down here. It says 17, but it don't finish, because... And what's most insane about this fucking story is how it says right here. Towards the close of one of those fair days in autumn, which make up the Indian summer, the number of gathered into their one-story tavern to talk over their little politics as they were wont when they were. This article is old, written in the 1800s, so stuff don't make sense back then, and words come out, you know, messed up because we don't use some of these words in modern times. But anyways, Indian at that time had got to be a rarity in Pepperell. So Paugus lived in Pepperell. He was tall, over 6 feet, and it goes on to say, oh, where did that part go? You know, I looked up Indian summer. But anyways, he goes out and he's walking around. He walks into this tavern, and I guess Chamberlain might have heard or something, overheard the Indian whispering to a man, or he got caught wind of it. But of course, he tried to proceed to go to the Groton mill, but was ambushed by Chamberlain and shot dead in the heart. A sad story in my eyes, because of the senseless war they had together. You know, Chamberlain and the father, to me. But, like I said, you can't call these Indian savages. This is my way of saying I think I am to tell the story of these Indians. And if you look at Indians the wrong way because you think, oh, they killed my ancestors. Well, your ancestors were doing the same damn thing. Killing, sending off Indians to slavery to England from Deer Island, mind you. All kinds of intense insanity bullshit. Makes me sick. And we still do it to this day. We're still doing, I mean, we ain't got the slavery around. But we still get them refugees that come into our United States, secretly, hidden. And as you can see, we have terror attacks. So, keep letting them on in here to kill us. Fine by me. Because just like the Indians, they ain't gonna catch me. If I get killed by a terrorist, I'm gonna be killing a line of fire, defending my country, just like anybody else. Indian is in my blood, and I have rights to do what I want to do is right. So, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. And, but like I said anyways, this story And it's just insane how it just came out the way it did. I guess it was telling me that I needed to tell it, not be forgotten. And Indian summer, mind you, the most insane part of this was I was going to say, and it says it right here like I showed, Indian summer. That Indian summer runs in between the months of September, November. Go figure. November 26th, 2016. When I drove by, in my thumbnail pic of this, a Indian story of Groton, Mass, the video, I have various pictures, and it's got the hawk on that telephone pole. And I have it in the other video I made, you know, the drive-through through Route 40 in Groton. Show where I had encounters with hawks that day, but the date says it all, November 26th. In that picture is when I took that picture of the hawk on the telephone pole. That hawk sat on that post. Like I said, I drove from the job site I show in my video all the way to Airport Road in Fitchburg. And due to the traffic that day in the metal that I had to dump at the the metal scrapyard, oh man, took me about 45 minutes. So that damn hawk sat on that pole until when I took that picture, I just had come back from Fitchburg. 45 minutes later, got out of my truck. Of course, the picture came out blurry as shit because of the phone I was using. Sucks. Got my picture and the thing flew on its way. So I put it in the back of my mind. You know, I know Indians dwell throughout Groton, Mass. Hugely. Due to the King Philip War and my father telling me stories. And he is actually, I went and asked him about Groton in that area. Only about, you know, Indians that, you know, and I did try and show, but I couldn't. I didn't have enough time because I went down the goddamn wrong way of the road. But there are gullies, lakes, swamps, all throughout that goddamn area that I drive in on Lost Lake Road. And the intensity of the Indian dwelling there is huge. I mean, very strong. My father said he used to search throughout that area, and, you know, when he was a kid, he'd swim in one of the swim holes out there, with a lake, so say. So I'll say, wow. But that is the reason why I made these videos, is due to the fact that I hawk my curiosity. And when that story came up yesterday in the book, and I asked him, I didn't tell him about the hawk yet, that I seen him on that day. So I'm going to have to, after I'm done with all this. I'll read a little more into the book. But I guess I'm, yes, here to tell stories of non-forgotten things. And the fact that you look at the world now, it ain't no different from 400 or 500 years ago when the first war started. Indian war, mind you. All the same shit that's going on today with refugees. Terrorists. Same thing. Right here. It's all here, black and white. So for us to continue to do what past is, you know, it sucks to say it's gotta happen, but keep letting them refugees come on in. Come on in. Keep letting them dwell within us. You know what the problem is, and I'll keep on saying it. You need to get the good people of that country. You need to get out there. If we're going to go out there, we're going to put them in a private place. They need to stop running away from their country. They need to take order. They need to be placed, and our soldiers can go there in a safe manner and teach these people in a short time how to use guns. And you know what? They're going to have to learn how to fight They got their kids that go into ISIS and all this terrorist bullshit at 6 years old. Well, then these people the good people should learn how to fight back. Now, I was reading a magazine article in Time magazine in the doctor's office. One day I see this 6-year-old took him from a photographer holding a friggin' AK-47, high-tech rifle. He could blow away anybody. A kid, he's talking about how this kid's all set up, knowing how to use it, blah, blah, blah. You know what? Get over there and start teaching these people how to fight back. Why are we not doing that? Then they can take them sons of bitches, kill them all off, just like they sneak attack their own people. Why ain't they doing it back? Fucking insane. Insane. Sick, but insane at the same time, and we gotta deal with it over here. Then you let the people, refugees in, and then you get the assholes that come along with them and sneak in. So, what are we really doing here? No different from this war. No different from this war, King Philip War, French War, any Indian war. No different. Just different nationalities. That's all it is. To see all this go down and happen back then, to me, and not hear the right stories of the Indians and to make it all sick. They're savages, they're beasts. No, English were just as well sick and demented as them. So, more good for one, good for the other. Until then, YouTube Nation, be safe, take care. You know what? It's time for us to take our world back, United States back, just like the Indians wanted to do back in the day. And all they wanted was to live like a normal human being. They were not savages. They were people, or we, I should say. We, because I'm fucking Indian too. We were people just like the English, just like the British, just like the French. And to listen to them to go into war and to fight them for something that we owned. I gotta start saying that we owned at one point in time, and you wanted to take the greed over the friendship. Well, it only goes to show why today is today. Why today is like it is today. End of story. Book closed. Till the next video, YouTube Nation. Out.